In today's video, we're going to learn how to use any kind of font that we want on a ggplot. The first step that we need to do is load the showtext package. If you haven't already installed the showtext package on your computer, you'll need to use the install.packages function first. Next, we're going to load the ggplot2 package. Let's start by creating a very simple ggplot. I'm going to use the mtcars dataset, and I'm going to put the mpg variable along the x-axis and the weight variable on the y-axis. I'll make it a scatter plot, so I'm using the geom_point function, and I'm going to add a title to my plot. So on Windows, by default, the font that's going to be used is Arial. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So we can see in the plot viewer on the bottom right that ggplot is using Arial as the default font. If we want to change what font is used for all of the aspects of the plot, we can use the showtext package. So the first step is to add the font that we want to use. So as an example, let's use Calibri. I use the font_add function from the showtext package. And the first argument it takes is called family. That's where you provide the name of the font. And whatever you name it here is going to be what you'll use inside the ggplot call later. So I'm just going to call it Calibri. And then the second argument is called regular. And that's where you put the name of the font file itself on your computer. So for Calibri, it's just calibri.ttf. And if you want to find where all the possible files are of this format, on your computer, you can just search for fonts. On your computer, if you go into font settings, you'll be able to see all the different fonts that you have installed. And if I search for Calibri, and then I click on the font, I can see the name of the file and where it's located on my computer. So I'll run this line of code to add that font. And now I need to use the showtext_auto function. Once I've run these two lines of code, I am ready to use the Calibri font in my ggplot call. So to do this, I'm going to add a theme layer, and I need to set text equal to element text, and I'm going to type family equals, and then this is where you want to put the name of the font that you added. So because I called this Calibri, that's what I want to type here. If I run this, I'm also just going to change the title since this is no longer Arial, it's now Calibri. And if I run this, I should see that all of the aspects of the plot are now in Calibri font instead of Arial. It's a little hard to tell with Calibri, so let's use a different font to show a more extreme example. Let's say we wanted to use Comic Sans. Well, what I would want to do first is go back to my font settings on my computer and find the name of the Comic Sans file. So I search for Comic Sans, I click on the font name, I scroll down a bit, and I can see that the name of this file on my computer is just called comic.ttf. So rather than Comic Sans, it's just called comic. So if I go back into RStudio, I'm going to again need to use the font_add function. For the family argument, I can call it whatever I want. So I'm going to call it Comic Sans MS. But for the argument called regular, that needs to be the name of the font file on your computer. So remember that was comic.ttf. If I run that line of code, I should now be able to use the Comic Sans font in my ggplot. So down to our ggplot call, I'm going to change the family argument to Comic Sans MS. And notice here that I'm using the same string as what I used in the font_add function. And for the title, I'm just going to change it to say this is Comic Sans since we're no longer using Calibri. And if I run this, I get this lovely plot that now has Comic Sans as the font. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please subscribe so that I can continue to make videos like this one.